Greetings, everyone. M.I.B here. All right, people. I'm going to say a few things to get into the truth before I go into a lot of the things that are going on. I've been involved with so many things all my life. Spiritualism and UFOs and aliens have been my life. All right. Sure, I had a couple relationships and all those other things like normal people do. But I had more experiences, and I can say probably more than 99% of the people on this planet. And they're all not good. I mean, some people have great experiences. I don't. I did some things that were incredible, like healing my body, talking to God, things like that. But I'm not going to get into God now. We've got more important things on this planet, in this physical world. I'm 70 years old. I went through just about every experience you could imagine. I'm not talking about reading other people's stories and re-quoting what they said. Nothing like that, people. I'm a rebel. I've been a rebel all my life. When I worked for the phone company 20 years, they all thought I was crazy. Most people did. I talked about UFOs. I was showing pictures of UFOs, but they still thought I was crazy. Uh, Sadly to say, my family, friends, everybody thought I was kind of out there in left field. Nobody believed in it. Nobody understood it. But I had my first experience when I was 6, my next one when I was 12. And I must have saw at least 1,000 ships, one of them from next to it, one of them from really close up, one of them is coming to abduct my brother really close. I can go on. My experiences what I talk about comes from my direct experiences. I had people with me a couple different times on my major experiences. Some of them I didn't. But I proved everything I talk about to myself as truth, meaning it goes against what scientists say, and they're useless people. Evolution in science, technology is not a good thing when most people believe it is. And I'm going to talk about Stephen Greer, the biggest, ridiculous, most crazy lunatic in the UFO world. And I'll explain why when I get into that. But here's the thing, people. I lectured from 1996 to 2002 with Sergeant 18. We showed more pictures of UFOs than anybody else in the United States, not Tic Tacs, UFOs. We also did a show years later on Kerry Cassidy for 9 months. He was my co-host. We showed pictures every week, and we had more people in our chat room than anybody else, like Kerry Cassidy and everybody else during that time frame. We had about 50 people at least in our chat room, and the next day we would be hit at least by 1,200, 1,300 people every show we did for 9 months. People, I am not a storyteller. I don't like to promote lies, which I do not. I don't bring people on that I do not trust 100%. All right, anybody that gets this video, please send it to other people that are real, looking for truth, not people that want to follow liars, storytellers, and everything other than the truth. Most people won't come here. They're afraid of the truth, and that's a fact. I could go on, and which I will, about all the different aspects of where people think they get their truth from. But first, we're going to start with science. Science lied about everything all through history. The missing link, okay, their theory of evolution and how the earth was created and all these different words. How the human body was created. And technology is not an answer for anything, people. You may believe it is. I'll explain it this way. Jacques Cousteau, who was my idol when he was alive, his last show before he died, he did a show on the pollution around the planet. He went to every country and showed how far the pollution is out. The United States isn't as bad as Puerto Rico and other countries, believe it or not. But his ending was, he goes, the future is bleak. And he said, this is what it'll probably be like. And he showed cartoon images of a head inside a satellite. He goes, people don't want to do anything. They want everything else to do it, which he's so close to. AI will destroy the planet. All right. Scientists think it's like the best thing. Now, Mr. Gates, and Musk are involved with what's happening to the planet as far as what we're going to eat, what's going to happen. Now, guess what? One of them said that the satellites are leaking radiation. Now, I know most people don't know nothing about satellites and everything else. They're not big. 98% of them are really small, okay? They're not like the size of a trailer. One of the first ones they sent up was, a couple other ones were, and then you got the space station. But most satellites are little. They send up 1,000 at a time, or a couple hundred at a time. So they couldn't be the size of trailers or anything even close to it. Maybe a matchbox or even a milk crate or something that size, but they're not bigger than that. But here's the thing they don't talk about. What powers them? It's powered by radiation. I knew this a long time ago. I lived next to a guy that was in the government, and his lights were all on all the time. I said, Dominic, you can worry about your phone, your bill? He goes, no, they're all powered. I said, how? He goes, by radiation. They'll last 100 years. 100 years, people. Radiation doesn't disappear. I mean, I could go into the sun and what's happening. We will maybe at the end if we have time. But getting back to the point, I deal with truth, people, and people are so afraid of it. I challenged everybody in the UFO world. I challenged all the top spiritual speakers. I write letters to the Pope every day. People are living under the biggest lie. And the first lie is why they're here. Do you have a clue why you're even here? What does science tell you? Evolution. And then we got the UFO people who was brainwashed by a book about the Anunnaki. Zachariah Sitchin. All right. Now, we were not created by Anunnaki people. All right. We weren't brought to this world by the Anunnaki either. So all those stories are twisted lies, programs. Now, if you understand anything about aliens, which we're going to be dealing with greatly, is what happened to people over time. The first religion on the planet was Hinduism. They work with deities. All right. Deities I call little gods. They're in the inner worlds. They don't hang out on planet Earth, really. But that's what they're working with. When that ended, it became aliens. Aliens took the role of being a god. And people believed it. Now, everybody out there, if you have a brain and you're listening, the Egyptians, the Mayans, the Aztecs were all being trained and programmed by aliens. Everything the Egyptians created, wrote, and hieroglyphics and all that stuff proved they didn't know anything about reincarnation, even though that's what half of it is about. Half of the things they do was about reincarnation. Sorry, people, they didn't reincarnate back into a body, especially the body that died when they left. Mummies and all those other things were biggest lie to them, and they believed it. I don't know if you watch Ancient Aliens, all these history channels showing what they did to the bodies, breaking their skulls open, taking the brain out, breaking the jaw, all these ridiculous things like you're going to reincarnate into that body. Really? They knew nothing. They were taught nothing important, people. The Egyptians weren't spiritual, right? People believe they might have been, but they weren't. And here's the thing. All the races that were here before us are gone. Why? Because they were following aliens, not God, aliens. And aliens have no God, and people believe they are. So yeah, that's a serious problem. Plus, they don't have feelings and emotions like humans do. So to think that they care about what you think, feel, and what you're going to go through. All these people going on about aliens are going to come here and help us. We're not going to go into that because that's a big, serious problem. It's going to hurt the planet greatly very soon due to certain people who we're going to talk about. Now, like I said, I've been in this since I was 6 years old. I know aliens are real. I know UFOs are real. All right. I know demons are real. I know spirits are real. I know angels are real. I mean, deities don't come into this world or reality anymore in any aspect. All right. Angels aren't teachers. So the whole Muslim religion believing that they work with Gabriel. Gabriel wasn't a teacher, and he wasn't God. Why would you take a message from somebody, anybody, including Jesus? But Jesus didn't do dumb things. He didn't teach stupid things like God's going to protect your ass. That's the biggest lie man accepts. You think God cares about your sorry little ass? Why? What do? What makes you so important to God? God created multiple universes, multiple realities, and each one of them's for a soul to grow, not become dormant, stagnant, and play in hell. Now, people want to believe aliens are so important. You should shift over to Satan. Satan controls all alien races as well as all humans. The darkness that has come over people has not come from God. And we're not in heaven. We're not in a bliss state. We're not in the Garden of Eden anymore, which certain alien races destroyed, called Atlantis. And from then on, the human race was programmed by the Anunnaki, not created. They programmed us to kill, sacrifice, all right, which are the most horrible things that we could have ever done, then eat animals. Another thing we did not do, we didn't have to. We don't need this, we don't need that, we don't need anything. If our fruits and vegetables were clean and healthy, we would get every vitamin known in our bodies from that. But since what we did to the ground, destroying the bacteria that lives in the ground even, plants can't absorb what they need. They can't release what they used to. A plant from 100 years ago to now is about 25%. It's about 25% of what the original plants had as far as vitamins, minerals, and all the other things it had. So people, when we say, well, science is going to help us, what? Now, here's the bottom line, people, and I'm going to tell you straight out. Man, not women, likes to create toys, T-O-Y-S, toys. And all they can do is make a better toy. Meaning, bigger, faster, more multi-talented tools. All right. Are they helping us? Does the computer really help us in any way? If you watch Shark and how people form relationships on a computer for years and they're just talking to a computer, what it's doing to mankind's thinking, what children get out of it, nothing good. All the games they created on a computer are dangerous to a child's mind. So when you see a child go out and shoot up a mall, what do you think they're thinking? Who do you think's controlling them? Their mother and father hopefully didn't teach them that. Their friends didn't teach them that either. Because they're going there and shoot their friends up. People, you better realize what's going down on this planet. Now, who's controlling it all? I'm going to go into each aspect, but let's start with planet Earth and government. All right, who's the government? Not us. Government was created for us, by us, to help us. No, they created themselves to be what they are. Now, this is a fact, people. You don't have to accept it. The Constitution, I did a show on this just last couple of days ago, is the biggest lie to mankind. It wasn't created to help us, meaning normal people. It was created for rich people only. And if you watch the Republicans and what they want to do, the poor people would be thrown out and buried. You think a rich person wants a poor person living next door to them? Never mind 10 of them living around their house? Of course not. They feel they're better every which way. And I'm going to say this a couple of times during the show. Jesus said this, and I can go into that later. But Jesus said it 3 times in the Bible alone. It's easier for a camel to go through an eye of a needle than a rich person to get into heaven. Why would he say that? Because it's the most truest statement. Money corrupts the brain, the mind, and thinking. Always. I'm not talking about $50, $100,000, or even up to 1 million, but millionaires and billionaires. Their mind is not about you or me. They don't care about you or me. They care about making more money. They care about getting more things. All right. The only time they get anything is when their child dies or something like that happens. Suddenly they're back in the real world. They're not living in La La Land where they can dream and get whatever they want, do whatever they want. They don't care about time, place, energy, or any of that. They just do it. Musk, Gates, people like Al Gore. Do you know anything about him? You should. He created the fake word global warming in his idea of what it is. Nobody in government talks about the real reasons behind global warming. Not one of them. Presidents, vice presidents, Congress, all these organizations talking about global warming do not talk about the real problem. How is that possible, people? Because people are so ignorant. They're afraid of the truth and they rather accept the lie. If a lie sounds good, they'll accept that over the truth. And let me tell you this, the truth is never what you want it to be. It is what it is, the truth. Whether you can accept it or not is a different story. I learned to accept it. I mean, I wanted to believe this, I wanted to believe that. I was going to become a preacher. Then, when I realized everything was a lie, I wanted to know more about God, which nobody can teach. Not one person on this planet I know can teach you about God. I can talk about it to you. I'm one of the few people that do shows on God, not the make believe God man created, but a real God. Why it created multiple realms, dimensions, dinosaurs, ants, kangaroos, roaches. And that wasn't the Anunnaki. All right, people. Now, why would it put something in power over planet Earth? Planet Earth is the beginning of soul's awareness, which it's allowed to reincarnate over and over. And it usually does hundreds of times, people, not once, not twice. So in that time frame, just imagine how many times you might have got married, how many children you might have had in hundreds of lifetimes. And why do you assume the life you're in right now, the people you're with right now, are more important than any of the other ones? Because it's in the now? I mean, if your wife died today, would she still be part of your life? Probably not. You'd be out looking for another girl or a husband. We don't live in reality. We live in this fake world we create, believing things are important, things are good. Nothing's good on this planet. Aliens come here is definitely not a good thing. Well, science wants us to be high tech and all these other words. And they didn't create AI, aliens did. And you'll find that out within the next 2 years. AI, artificial intelligence, no, it's real intelligence. If it can think by itself, it's not artificial, is it? All right, so it's going to be taking over the world. Musk comes out, oh no, we can control it if we take care. And they just put a video on TV yesterday showing how Walmart, Kmart, all these companies are getting robots to stock the shelves, do this, eliminate cashiers, eliminate everything. You think that's going to help business? People getting jobs? The only job you're going to need right now is making robots. But once they create robots that can fix themselves, what do they think? What do you think they're going to need you for? If you have a business and you open 6 days a week, how much you're going to spend to keep all these people paid every day? And you open, 8 hours a day? What if you open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and didn't have to pay nobody? If you had a bunch of robots working for you, if a robot breaks down, you fix it. But outside of that, they're not going to sit there and grab food from you. They're not going to be grubbing for a raise. They're not going to be grubbing for anything. They're doing what they're programmed to do. People, you think AI is a good thing. I can sit in my car. I don't even know my car could actually drive itself completely. Not that I trust it, but it can. All right. But on that, when you drive, you got a machine thinking about what to do, which way to go, and it's controlled by a satellite. Do you think that's helpful, beneficial? Government could push a button and every car would drive right off a cliff, right into a wall. Imagine that. If something could take control over that. If you watch any new movies, it's all about computerized technology and what people stole the satellites and missiles and all that kind of stuff, what they could do. But you want to live in La La Land. You want to believe science is helping us. Right now, our food, our water, and our air are completely contaminated. Our foods have so many chemicals in them. Our healthy things like called vitamins are toxic to our body. Your body has everything it needs to maintain a perfectly healthy body no matter what. Now, I mean, well, people say, well, we're not perfect. Well, we were. Maybe you heard the phrase, God doesn't create junk, mankind does. Well, we have a lymphocyte in our body, and it goes around. It's like an army. They destroy anything bad within the body. But we have a set number, meaning 1 million, all right? And if we bring 10,000, 100,000 people in a fight, they just take them right out. But when you bring in 10 million, 20 million more armies, they lose the battle. You get sick, you get disease, and you get everything else. That's how it goes down, people. All the vitamins you take, all the drugs you take, all the medicines you take destroy your lymphocytes. And they can't fight. And I'm not going to go into the vaccine and all that because I lost my show the last time. I lost link because of that. I had 3,500 followers, people, but I have very few now because the truth is scary. It's more scary than the reality. I live in dreamland. I could be happy. If I look at the truth, I'll be depressed. 90% of the planet is depressed, people. How many people you think drink? How many people do drugs? How many people have to get into cheap drills because they're so bored with life itself? It covers the biggest population of the planet. Never mind the homeless and starving. They can't even get a meal to survive. Where do you think we're going? And we have all these spiritual people coming out. Oh, we're going to go into the golden age. We're going to be fifth, sixth dimensional beings. We're going to raise the vibration of the planet. Really? You go into a prison waving your magic wand. Is that going to make them all spiritual beings? You really believe that? Shine a light on them and they all become spiritual beings. No, it's not going to happen, people. Living your lives, you're going to die in them, which means you'll reincarnate over and over in this reality, whether it's Earth or another planet. You'll be here in the hell realm. In hell, meaning Earth, planets, our solar system, you can see pain, you can see suffering, you can kill, you can hate, you can beat, and do all those things. You can't do that on the Esther plane. And most souls don't get a chance to stay there because they don't deserve to. They reincarnate back here. Until you can overcome those things, should you expect to go into a more spiritual realm. God knew all of that. That's why he created all these realms. There's 5 realms for soul to attain soul awareness and become God realized. But you want to stay in hell. You want to dwell within it. That's your choice. Thinking everything's right, everything's going to get better. No, it's not. For a person to come out and say they heal you of your karma, a lie. But let's stick with science just a little bit longer. When they come out with new weapons and things, oh, it's so important. Weapons are to the Army, to the Navy, to the Marines, to the government. But are they important for you? The government, U.S. government's releasing a spaceship within a year. It's done. It costs $40 billion. Has every weapon known to man on it. All right? It'll be the most deadliest thing on the planet. The United States has to stay ahead of everybody, which is an important thing, because that's where we live. I mean, if we lived in China or Russia, it wouldn't be, but where you live is always important. Russian people think they're important. Chinese people think they're important. But the reality is the United States has tried to keep peace around the world at some level, not working it out right ever. Vietnam War and things like that were totally dangerous and destructive to the planet, to the people. But unless you're ready to take a step into the truth, which I'm trying to feed you today, if you don't want the truth, don't even listen to any more. Live in your dream world. Believe your spiritual preacher, teacher, whoever you listen to and follow, that they're right and they know what they're talking about. Now, I'll tell you this. No scientist deals with a real God. No scientist understands a real God. I'm serious about that. We found the God gene. No, they didn't. They found bull. What do you think the God gene would be? We are that. We're all cells from God. Unaware. And we're only here to become aware of that. Not to have 10 children, 10 houses, 10 cars, 10 boats, 10 wives. It's not about that, people. And that's all you were programmed to believe is important. The Catholic religion, which is the biggest religion on the planet, has 2.5 billion people. Now, if you go to get married in a Catholic church, the priest asks the person, that best man and all that, well, how many children does he want to have? How many of this? If you don't say he wants to have a lot of children, they won't marry him. All right, there's so many programs and ideas. They want to keep the Christian religion going, period. Not whether it's right or wrong. Now, I could tear apart the Bible in front of you right now, but it would take all day, a couple days. The little truth that's in it is little. What Jesus actually said is not even in the Bible, people. When he preached to the people on a mountain, they were just fishermen, farmers, and looking for some step to move forward. Realize love did not exist. So when he showed affection, which is not in the Bible either, when he became Mary Magdalene's husband, they realized about a relationship. But they all helped kill him in the end anyway. How's that possible? I reincarnated because of that, but that's besides the point. Here's the thing, people. Jesus was telling the truth. He was teaching about God, not our perception, what's written in the Bible, but what God is, why we would strive and should strive to get closer to it. Not stay on planet Earth, not live 100 times longer, all right? And years were different in those days, and very few people lived to 100, 500 years, 1,000 years, really. You know, we didn't change and become that downgraded in genes and all that. We usually progress. Soul usually moves forward, doesn't move backwards. The stories were created by man. God never wrote anything, not even the Ten Commandments. God doesn't come into this reality. Why would it? This is hell. It's the worst energy, and it's here to help these souls move forward. And all these people claiming to be fifth, sixth dimensional beings went through ascension, in other words. Such a farce, a lie to anybody that says they went through it. If you went through it, you'd have 32 psychic abilities, period. Not one person on this planet could do one perfectly, never mind 32 of them. I'm going to get into the UFO end of that, which is another story. But let's stay with this whole idea. All right, you believe these programs that were fed to you. Read the Bible over and over. How come Christians didn't read Revelations? I don't think anybody does. Paul, all right, was not with Jesus really. In the Bible, it says he had a vision. Okay, if I have a vision and tell you it, you wouldn't believe it anyway. Why did they believe his vision? All right. Now, Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, 4 people. 2 of them were disciples of Jesus. 2 of them were evangelists. Look up the word evangelist. 1 followed Peter and 1 followed Paul. All right, so the one that was following Paul was following somebody that never actually met Jesus, where Peter was one of the closest people to Jesus. All right. So, but if you read the New Testament, 3 different places, it contradicts the truth because they repeat what one person said. Nobody could write the exact same thing that somebody else wrote. I could listen to you and write down what you said. In my mind, it's not going to be even close to what you really said. So the things Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John are important is another lie. Why they were accepted out of 40 Gospels, they picked 4, and 2 of them weren't even Jesus' disciples. Why is that? It was about control, people. Man is always in control or believe they are or want to be. They want to control the public. They want to control people. Gates wants to control, and Gore, and all of them want to control what we think, what we eat, and what we do. But there's a word, overpopulation. But science is not helping mankind become better. Well, we're going to have a space car that can take, they just legalized, they're making it, flying cars okay to have now. How long it's going to take for them to actually be implanted in our life and everything, be a few more years. But it's coming. Who thought we'd have a car that could drive itself? Way back when they had theories of how a car could drive itself, they had these rails and they had to follow the rail with magnets and all these different ideas. Never drive itself by itself. People, technology is the destruction. If you go back in time, which is really vague in any science, Ancient Aliens, any show you watch, how the pyramids were built and why, they have no clue. Go back when they found these artifacts that couldn't exist. They're called out of place artifacts, meaning it's in the wrong time frame. It was placed there, people. Now, something you need to know, whether you accept it or not. All right? Aliens have been implanting things here for us to find and believe. All right? And people usually do. When we find a time clock that's thousands and thousands of years old. Really? Even the Mayan calendar, you think a man created that? Well, I saw this satellite going around the universe for 24,000 years. Really? It was given to them. Everything we have was given to us, people. You got a choice, God or aliens. What God gives us was incredible. What aliens give us is terrible. All right. What do you think we have that aliens gave us that's important? Ask the government. Scientific technology, weapons. Now, the two most so-called intelligent beings on the planet, Einstein and Tesla. Einstein, in his notes, said he worked in his dream with an alien. All right. He did steal most of his stuff from other countries. Now, Tesla worked with aliens for real and came up with 200 inventions. 50 of the most deadliest weapons on the planet. All right. The rest they sent back to his country. They got a Tesla museum. But the weapons he allowed to the United States to have, including time travel, an earthquake machine. Do you think either one of them could help mankind move forward? Time travel is the worst dangerous thing that mankind can play with. Realize this, they could destroy 99.9% of the planet and just go back in time and start it all over again. It becomes a toy, just like the Matrix. And I know they had theories in the Matrix when they created that. If you watch it 2 or 3 times, you'll understand what's going on in that. It's not just a movie, right? People to become aware of things in reality, which the government is afraid of. Even the fact that dolphins are more intelligent than any other creature on this planet, and they don't want humans to become close to them. I'm in Hawaii. They outlawed you being near a dolphin. You can't be 100 feet near a dolphin, or you can get summoned and put in jail and fined. All right, because they're afraid they will communicate, which they're definitely afraid of. Because for 10 years, the government was trying to train dolphins to kill people. And they killed 10,000 dolphins a year. Fact. Rico Neely, whatever. He wrote the movie. He created the movie The Cove. All right. He trained Flipper, and he brought Flipper into an arena. He's spending the rest of his life saving dolphins in any way he can. Watch the movie Cove, because it shows how these Philippines killed 10,000 in a day. They herd them in and they just slaughter them. And they're the smartest creatures on the planet. Killing them to eat them. They could train those dolphins to go out and get fish and bring them back. If they were intelligent. People have lost their intelligence. The ego has grown bigger. Getting back to Musk, Gates, think they could take all the farms away, stop us from eating cows, and make us eat crickets. It's already going on in 2 countries. All right, and then I can go on. It gets disgusting. Roach milk. Really? A company's doing it. How many roaches to make a glass of milk? I wonder. But serious people, we're creating a horrible scenario. But it's all about the planet. The planet will be radioactive. Does science talk about that? Do they talk about the aurora borealis, which gets produced every time they use the HAARP system and hit the ocean? It's called radiation, people, not beautiful rainbows. What is a rainbow? Different. Because the aurora borealis is the radiation radiating within the light. All right? It's toxic. They can't tell the world that, can they? Now, when we created chemtrails, there's a reason for that and why they're doing it. Hawaii, they spray almost every couple of days. Why? It's destroying everything we have, including our bodies. Metals coming down into your body is not beneficial in any way, people. And when the movie What Are They Spraying? Why Are They Spraying came out, watch them if you never did. And that was 20 years ago. He was living on Hawaii and produced a movie. He went around the world talking to every country, trying to get them to talk about chemtrails, and they wouldn't even listen to him. They had to walk away. They turned around. Not one person even listened to what he had to say or took what he was handing them. Because, certain things go on worldwide, and people can't stop it. Now, governments control everything, people. I'm sure you know that. And they're not working for you and me. Putin said, I'm going to repeat this, but Putin said to Trump, there's 27 alien races. 2 of them want to destroy the planet. I want you to tell the world about aliens. I want you to tell the world about 9/11. And this was Putin talking to Trump. Now, the day after he was on TV, I'm creating a space army. It was already there. But after he met Putin the day before, Putin said that they work with all these races. Why? What are they doing? He wants global warming. He wants to farm 10 months a year rather than 4 or 5. People realize people do things for themselves, not for the rest of the people, and not for the planet. Rich people have tons of money. Why? Because they don't care about the planet. They don't care about people. A person can be starving down the block, and they go out and buy a Mercedes. Oh, that family's suffering and starving, and it's burning down, and they're standing on the street. Well, I'm going to go out and buy a submarine. Whatever. They can do whatever they want, but they don't care about people. None of them do. They donate $1 million, $10 million. What's that? Pennies to them. I lived in a billionaire's house. And he was one of the cheapest people I met personally. He had a broken door, and he wouldn't even fix it. He had a dog from the pound. He wouldn't pay to bring it to a doctor because he goes, oh, we just got that from the pound. There's no love there. Love of the planet, love of people. Well, I love my children. I live with a millionaire. And he did 6 things. He went to 6 different restaurants in a week. And one day a week they stayed home and had French toast. But every other day it was Spanish night, German night, Russian night, Chinese night, pizza night. So each night was different. But one night, it was Wednesday night, they had to sit up and have French toast with their father. He owned the biggest company. I'm not going to go into name and all that stuff. But he lost multi-millions when the stock market crashed a while ago. Because he was a billionaire. All right? People, we're living in a world controlled, obviously, not by spiritual people, not by religious people, not by all the quote phrases we use. The government has multiple weapons now. And you don't even see them. They don't even promote them. They don't even use them yet. Yes, everybody's using drones now. Let's not kill people, which is a good idea, but why do they need you then? Let's have an army, 10 million drones. We don't need one person, just a couple people to fly them. They just brought a giant drone to Hawaii. They're learning how to fly it, but guess what they're doing with it? Testing it, dropping bombs on top of the mountains up here. Do you care what's going on for real? Or you want to live in your cloud and say, oh, everything's beautiful? I mean, saying everything's beautiful in its own way. Yeah, in its own way, not your way. Earth is incredible. Man destroys everything about it. Now, the world was destroyed many times over. Not completely, but took the life away. Otherwise, we'd be still living with dinosaurs. And the roaches would be the number one creature walking around the planet, which they kind of still are. And they're the oldest creature on our planet. So where are we really going? Who's creating what, and why is it being allowed? You don't think they could cure disease? If that happened, every drug company would go out of business. The multi-billionaires would lose their business. That can't happen. They make drugs to keep a disease or a sickness going. I mean, they came out with hepatitis 3, the cure. But it costs $70,000. They know the average person can't afford that. The medical coverage won't cover it. So why did they? In the United States alone, they got 12 companies in the United States working on viruses that are uncurable. I'm serious about that. You can pull it up online. I'm not making it up. I don't make anything up, people. I don't promote lies. I don't promote stories unless I was a part of it and know it's for real. So let's go into something I want to get into, because I listened all day yesterday and I'm so sick of what's going down in the United States. All right, I'm going to start with one particular name. Everybody, and please send this to every UFO person you know. Stephen Greer is considered the most recognized person in the word disclosure. His idea of disclosure, meaning the government has worked with UFOs. I mean, if you were slightly aware, you would know that. You would know that. You know what went on with the government, what went on in the UFO world. Most people don't even know that. Don't even know that the government has been working with aliens for a super long time. In the UFO world, people don't follow the important stories while they make new ones up. Stephen Greer, I listened to him. Oh, when I was little, I actually saw a spaceship. Really? I saw over 1,000. I was next to one. I could be on the road and one would follow me for a half hour. It's not a drone. It wasn't a drone 50 years ago. All these things that people talk about. Oh, it's a Chinese ship. Oh, it's a Russian ship. Oh, it's a drone. There's a difference in the way they fly, and there's a difference in what they do. Drones are used to check or find something out. They're not used to play house and fly around the world to look at everything for no reason. There's a reason the government does what they do at every step of the way. I'm talking about the secret government. The outer government, which is the puppets for the secret government, do and play the game that the rich people want them to play. If they want war tomorrow, they declare it, and it happens. They play chess with the human race. They decide everything. If the stock market's going to crash, they decide that. They decide what's going to happen, people. And that's based on a constitution of people that are controlling the whole world, especially the poor and middle class people. In wartime, does these rich people usually go into war? They usually have an excuse to get out. I mean, somebody like Muhammad Ali, who should have went into the war, didn't. But somebody like Elvis Presley that did, all right, he didn't have to kill people. He didn't have to do all those things either. People, when you're in a rich place, things are different. When you're in a poor place, things are different. Go to jail and being poor, and go to jail being rich. Guess what happens? You know, mankind accepts it. Why? And what's even worse, women accept where they are in this world and in the place that they're in with the laws and everything else. But when we talk about science, there's nothing good coming out of it, people. Don't expect a miracle cure for all the diseases, which we had. Before I leave this subject, I'm going to say I was friends with one person from MJ12. Look up what MJ12 really is. You're not going to find much because nobody knows much. Well, I'm going to tell you this, and this is probably why he was taken out. But if you watch X-Files, watch that. Did you ever watch it from start to the end? Well, every series that was out was based on an actual story that has been recorded in the police department. Even self-explosion and all those things are real. Bigfoot, the second episode of X-Files, was based on a Bigfoot that was in New Jersey. I know some other fool claims that, oh, I wrote them all. No, he didn't write them all. What delusion does he live under? All right. they were written by facts. All right. Now, what I'm trying to get to is there was always the part of them with aliens in between all the other separate incidents that were going on. Follow that until the movie, the first X-File movie, not the second one, which was totally ridiculous, but the first one. Watch it. It has so much information in there on facts. Well, an alien race does mine honey. That honey is a cure for almost every disease on this planet. I was supposed to get it. And suddenly this person died. All right. He says it'll cure every sickness here. But if you watch the movie and what's going on with the bees and the honey, it's all part of it. X-Files was never a lie. People know that's crazy or that's stupid. No, it was real, people. But let's go from there to Stephen Greer. Out of all the people in the UFO world, he's the one I dislike the most because he's the biggest liar and he's going to bring destruction to the whole UFO world and destruction to the human race. How? Well, first off, he's a big liar. I mean, I was lecturing from 96 to 2002 in Sergeant 18. I had a friend, I'm not going to say his name because he's pretty sick, but he searched out everything he could about Stephen Greer. All the places he said he worked and what he said he did. Well, I'm an emergency doctor and all that. Emergency bull. Where did he get his money from? Why did he shift over to UFO world? Why is he converting, programming people to believe that talking to aliens is going to help us? Oh, they've been here a long time. Of course they have been. And they never, ever in history helped the human race move forward. What they did with Tesla wasn't to make us move forward, people. All right? It's to put us in a place where they can do whatever they want with us, which is happening right now. Oh, well, Stephen Greer, well, we need free energy. Energy is not the problem, people. If man can't relate to each other and their wives and their children, what good is it to have free energy? If a man comes home and beats his wife or beats his kid or any of that stuff, abuses his child, free energy going to help that in any way? The human race is fallen to Satan, not aliens, people. You don't have to believe that. Just live in hell and enjoy it while you can, because it's going to change within 7 years completely to half of the population, and I truly believe that. And if you don't know what it is, it's called UN Agenda 21-30. We're in stage 4. Read the stages. What's going to happen by stage 10? What's supposed to happen in 2030? Well, where are we supposed to be? Who's in control? What's in control? What are we doing? Think about it. If all these computers take over all the stores and driving and planes and cars, what do they need you for? What are you going to do for the government? What are you going to do for God? Either one. As a psychic, going to heal the world of what? Program the energy? Robots? And people think it's a good thing. Now, Mr. Musk, I get confused who said it, but I think it was Musk, says, well, we can have good control over AI. No, we can't. Now, here's something you'll find out. I've said this a couple times. In the next 2 years, AI is not a computer program. It's a real entity, people. It was created by aliens a long time ago. It was given to us for a reason, because it will take over the planet, and they don't have to risk aliens coming down or do anything. Tesla came out with the most horrible information to destroy the planet, people. An earthquake machine, which is being used. The earthquake chart is incredibly horrible for the past 6 months. Never in history has it been so bad. All right, earthquakes, volcanoes, all those things happening right now because of that. He created time travel, again, one of the most dangerous things that mankind could play with, thinking we can make it better. Now, I was friends with Nick Baggage, and he said the HARP system was dangerous. They killed his father in a plane and all that. But when I told him we have a HARP system in Hawaii, he goes, oh, I don't believe it. I live in Hawaii. He doesn't. I went up next to the tower where it is and everything else. But people are so ignorant. They want to believe that they have all the information. For what? They don't even know why it's happening. All right. He doesn't know much about the Hawk system. Jesse Ventura went to the White House talking to one of the people in charge of releasing the intelligence of behind the Hawk system. And he goes, so why would you invent that? He goes, well, at the time, we did not know what we were going to use it for. And now they do. And it's nothing good either, people. What the Hawk system can do, they can pinpoint a person anywhere on the planet. All right? It's that dangerous. And do they? They do, but they don't tell anybody what they're doing or when they do it. And the public government has to say all this dopey things and make us look even more stupid. The government, secret government, is not stupid. They're not poor either, people. They spend roughly $720 billion a year, people. Where's that money coming from? Since we have no money. And that's an average. They consider it war and weaponry. Space program is part of weaponry. All right. So I told you that ship they're releasing is $40 billion. It looks cool. It really looks cool. But it's not going to be beneficial to help mankind move forward. Weapons only take away life. They don't rebuild life. The second the gun was created, even the native people, they used bows and arrows to go hunting. They weren't using them to kill people at that time. So look at history. Man screws it up. It was man that came into the United States killing all the native people. 50 million native people they killed in 400 years. Jefferson, George Washington were responsible mainly. All right? But you want to believe history is important. It's all lies, twisted information. Thomas Jefferson, when he was doing a patriotic bill and when he was he wouldn't sign the Constitution. He went to court against it. He was trying to prove that we have the free rights and all this stuff. And what's he doing at the same time? Killing every tribe he could. Who's getting the free rights, people? Do you care? Do you want the truth or you want to live in fairyland? The United States has never publicly put anything important in school of the history of the United States and the native people. Ever. Native people didn't scalp people. It was the white people did. They got paid for the scalp that they brought in, knowing that native person was dead. People. So when we watch cowboy movies, it's all twisted. I was always pretending when I was little that I was native, dressed as a native and all that. I always cried when I saw them killing them and all that. So yeah, I was attuned into one of my past lives at that point already. People, mankind in the United States, the white race, British, English, are not friendly, loving, compassionate beings. Never were. Most of the wars were created by them. The white race. Europeans and Russians, they're considered the white race. Caucasian, whatever the right word is, but they're not black, they're not red, they're not yellow. All right? So when we talk about things, do you understand the history? Who do you think were the first slaves in the United States? Find out. You need to find out the first slaves brought into the United States were not black people. Just so you know. All right? People, mankind in general is ignorant, evil, twisted. Because they follow the darkness, they follow Satan, they follow all the horrible things that stop us from moving forward at any spiritual level. What's spiritual? How many people even know what the word means? Getting back to Stephen Greer, he's creating a center to program people to learn how to talk to aliens. He takes people out at nighttime to go into meditation to talk to aliens. Now, there's a Buddhist temple in Mount Rushmore. I'm trying to think where the temple is, but it's in Tibet, where they get in this big circle and they all chant to talk to aliens. The only thing they got so far was a destruction that was going to happen. So what? Billy Myers worked with aliens. He was given 100 prophecies. In 1950, he went around the world to every country and gave them the paperwork showing the 100 prophecies he sees happening. 89 or 90 of them came true that I know a while ago. I don't even know if the rest of them came true yet or not. But where do you think he got them? He didn't make them up because they all were real. All right, but was it beneficial? Knowing that something's going to happen doesn't change it unless people get involved and change it. If you knew you were going to get hit by a car today, would you go out and drive a car? No. Then you wouldn't get hit by a car, would you? Make sure you're not too close to the walls of your house if the car plowed into it, whatever. But I'm just saying, we could stop something if it was beneficial, which they're not. Prophecies, even Nostradamus told the queen that the king's going to get lanced and die, and he did. Did she stop him from going on a horse and doing it? No. Two of my friends, not going to say their names right now, prophesied 9/11 in detail. One of them said everything, including the White House, what was going to go down in Washington, and everything else. It all happened. I came down on him and said, why weren't you standing in front of the Trade Center? If you knew this was going to happen, why wouldn't you try to stop it? Putting prophecies out doesn't help the human race unless you're planning on stopping it. I mean, people get intuition like, oh, this plane's not good. I'm not going to get on it. Cancel the plane trip, and the plane blows up. Listening to the truth within yourself is important, but learning to find out if it's the truth or the darkness. There's light and dark inside you. Which do you follow? You don't even know. I mean, you go back and forth, but do you know when you should listen and when you shouldn't? I'll give you a simple technique on that, but not right now. But people, we follow the darkness 90% of the time. Cheap thrills are not beneficial to the human race. Drinking, smoking, and drugs are not useful. Considering there's multiple natural things, and opium is a natural ingredient of a plant that's outlawed. Why is that? Anything that grows on the ground should be legal for anybody to use it. And to say you can't is taking away your constitutional right. You bring a plant inside your house and grow it. You should have every right to do it. It's your house, your reality. We are constitutionally have the right to live and survive and protect ourselves. But we don't. We can't even protect ourselves any way we want. So, when we talk about the Constitution, it's a complete lie. Half of it was stolen from the native people. Seriously. And again, it wasn't based for poor people, which is anybody below $70,000, $70,000 a year now. But where are we going to go from here? Let's go back to Stephen Greer. He's trying to tell people we need their help. They're good. They're not good. They never did one good thing for the world. Ever. All the races that existed way back in Egyptian time, Mayan time, all gone. Why? If it was so good and they were helping us, don't you think they would step in and help us? And they won't make themselves public, which means they're not friendly. If you're friends with somebody, do you just wish them good luck in your mind? You go over and say hello, shake their hand. So you need the food, you need a sandwich. They don't do that, do they? Oh, mind programming, which Stephen Greer doesn't talk about, all alien races that abduct people program their abductee. I do a show every Tuesday with a woman who's been abducted half of her life and has more proof about it than any other experiencer. Sorry, wrong word. Abductee. But everybody else is using the word experiencer, meaning it was a good experience, which is another lie. Now, Corey Good came out with his story. Well, the alien showed him the past, present, and future. He said the world was going to be destroyed. It's not, is it? These people claiming to be and do and be with aliens, like George Cavalassius, he said he's working with an alien race, and they said they were going to destroy the world in 2 years. That was like 7 years ago. You know, these people come up with great stories, believe what they're told. The Egyptians believed what the alien race told them about reincarnation and everything, and did it. Did it help them? Did the pyramids help them in any way, people? Why do we... Oh, the grid line. And the grid line's moving. The Earth's shifting, people. Do you even know that? The currents that go around the ocean are moving. And it's going to get worse in a year. Science, who are very evil, told us the sun can't have any major problems for another 10 years. And then it will go to a supernova. But guess what, people? It's happening right now. There were so many explosions on the sun in the past week that has never happened before in our history. And it's escalating. People, they said what should happen 10 years from now is going to happen within 2 years. And what they said, the bad news is for the government to say that, for science to say that, it will burn up all the satellites. And what does that mean, people? Think, do you have a brain? Do you follow anything that's real or true? Probably not. Try to think about that. If all the satellites stopped tomorrow, what do you think would happen to the world? Everything beyond imaginable that would be dangerous and destructive to the world will happen. Think you're not prepared for that? You think underground cities are built for no reason? Are you following the facts? You put it out, make a map of facts. You could see it. Eventually, the whole puzzle is put together. Why this? Why that? Why are they doing this? Why is that happening? Why is this going on? Wars are distractions. War make money. All right? That's all that's about. Killing people? Well, so what? How many children were killed in Vietnam? We were 17. The army that they were fighting were 14. Imagine shooting a 14-year-old because he was forced to go out and fight. It's a sick world, people. The government's sick. It's not by and for the people. It's against the people. Everything that's given to you is against your rights. I mean, some of the people want delusional things from the government. But the right to be free, the right to free speech is taken away from you, people. The right to bear arms is a lie. Nobody has that right or should have that right. It was created how many years ago? When everybody had a gun to shoot a native person. And they wanted that. I mean, when the cowboy days came, it only lasted 60 to 70 years. And they realized that wasn't a good idea either. And that ended. That ended pretty quick. Because when most everything lasts hundreds of years, that only lasted 60 years. And I realized everybody just shoot everybody, and it's not the right way to go down. But that's before the government was fully in control. And we're talking about 13 colonies versus, 50 now? And what our government actually is. People, I do this show to bring truth out. I'm not doing it to make money. The government's always attacking me. The companies that run the shows are always attacking me. I got one last warning on Facebook. I lost my LinkedIn. All right. They took it away. And they said I can't get it back. I mean, twice I had to send my driver's license and everything else. Okay, it's you. But the last time I did a show, and my co-host mentioned the virus, and the show was taken down, and then they took my site away. In the past month, somebody went into my Facebook, somehow hacked my whole account, had to change everything. I'm still changing everything. They put me on the black web. If you know what that is, all right, I'm doing everything I can to get that straightened out. And it's a nightmare. People, we're in a sad place. And here's what I'll say. Stephen Greer is going to program people to believe we can talk to aliens and everything's going to get better. While the UFO world, and I'll go into all the other names if you want, Lou Elizondo. All right. He's been considered like the top speaker right now. And he was out responsible helping about the Tic Tac and all that. Tic Tac is just a dot flying around on a film. All right. But now his thinking, well, I can't say certain things, but I believe that most everything are drones. Does he have any experience? No. I was next to a ship. I would watch them. I watch them every day or morning. If the sky's clear in Hawaii, you'll see UFOs, not satellites, people. Big difference. Mothership came over Hawaii, 6 months ago? A mothership, meaning it was blocks wide. All right. So, people, you listen to people talk, and that's all you're going to get. Talk. Cheap talk. Listen to people's ideas and it's more talk. Richard Dolan. I joined his side. I pay money. He won't even talk to me. I joined Skinwalker Ranch. Not one of them will talk to me. They're all set. Now, Skinwalker Ranch is releasing more UFO information and what's happening, including government stuff, than anybody else. Even the guy, the owner, said, I don't want to get it all closed down and taken away, which is really close to happening. I don't know if they're going to let him release a UFO that they pull out of the ground on that show. I don't think they would let him do that. I don't think they're going to let him do much more. They exposed way too much. A ship, they say, that traveling, what? At an incredible speed. That's impossible. And they showed it. So right there, guess what? A drone can't do that. Our spaceships, our ships cannot do that. Quote, 99.9% of our ships. I'm not going to go into that in detail now. There's a few people in the UFO world out there speaking mainstream, like Whitney Shriver and people like that. He said he was abducted. And he has no clue what happened. See, they give you a program in this little brain telling you what they want you to believe happened, like Corey. Basically, there's a movie on the internet, and I want everybody to watch it that listens to this. Alien Interrogation. It's real. It's a real alien, and it's a real interrogation. It's not a puppet in some cheap studio. All right, and I can go into the facts why it's real, but I'm not going to. It's real. Watch it. Not that aliens know everything, because they don't. They don't have feelings and emotions, and they really don't know the truth about God, about the creation. Who's there to see it? How can somebody tell you what it is if they weren't there to see it? Well, this vibrates. So what? This is that. Black hole, Big Bang Theory, two big lies, two theories created by some asshole. Sorry, people. If you believe it, guess what? Now, whoever came out with the flat earth theory, another fool. I mean, there's a scientist that believes it and says, well, I could prove theories, and theories are just numbers. Fly around the planet. Fly above the planet. Go to the ocean. Go to the Empire State Building. Take a telescope up there and look through it. You should be able to see the rest of the planet. And you don't. You see a line, of a horizon line, right? If it was flat, you would see everything. It's the highest building. You'd be able to see as far as you want, and you can't. These people that, because a number says something doesn't mean anything. Man created numbers. The earth isn't based on numbers. We try to put everything into numbers because that's how we created a computer. 10100011100000. It's a theory. I mean, it's a program. It has nothing to do with reality. But they can recreate things like a face, a picture. It's all computer. It's just a computer idea of what we look like based on the programming. But it's real. It's this and that. No, what they can do with a computer now with any scene, any picture, anything going down. And none of it's real. Watch Avatar. Watch movies like that. It all seems so real. People, we're in a place where people like Stephen Greer are taking away our awareness that aliens are not good. Nobody can prove they are. I mean, I did a lecture seminar with a couple people right next to Area 51. One of the guys said they were a famous guy, said he was working with Tall White. Oh, no, sorry. I guess not the Tall White. What's the other one? Well, the one that looks like the Tall Whites. Well, and they helped him. I said, how'd they help him? Well, I was in a car crash and I was pulled out of the car. I said, okay, cool. What else did they do for you? He couldn't name one other thing. I said, you've been working with them. What did they do for you? Oh, they do everything. I said, name one other thing. And he couldn't. You know, people do things to win a person over. Aliens do whatever they want to control people. Tell them whatever they want. The same with Satan. Same with deities. And not deities, demons. When possession happens, they feed a person whatever they want. They can make them believe whatever they want. When people have visions, or through a seance or through something else where they open themselves up, Spirits like to come in and talk. Whatever you want to hear. The same as when you say, "Oh, I met with an angel." How do you know it's an angel? They look like an angel. Sounded like an angel. What's an angel sound like? What's an angel really look like? They don't have a halo and they don't have wings. What do they look like, people? How big are they? See, people accept programs that the mind puts together to create an image, and they're not right. Well, it's based on our level of awareness and what we perceive in this and program in this reality. All right, so when Stephen Greer says all aliens are good, he was never even next to an alien. Never saw them do something bad. Or he never saw them do something good either. Oh, well, they're here to help. Help us what? Destroy the planet even more faster than we are? Yes. Will he admit that? No. I challenge him every day. Every video that puts up, I said, if you ever grow a pair of balls, I'll debate you live or offline anytime. Because you're deceiving the world, you're deceiving the people. But how many people believe him? There's 8 billion people on the planet. How many people don't even know the name Stephen Greer? A couple million if max. The world doesn't know Stephen Greer. And he's not here to bring disclosure. Disclosure means what? Look it up. I was going to go into that in detail, but I'm not. Look it up. What does disclosure mean? Well, disclosure happened when the government met with them. Disclosure happens to a person when they get abducted. They're being shown the real thing. That's disclosure. Who says how many people have to be involved with disclosure? The whole world? No. 10 people? A million people? A billion people. What is disclosure really based on aliens? Doesn't matter. You know how many people they abduct in a week? How many people they eat? And all the other words in a week or a month's time? No, you have no clue. And you don't even know it's happening. Again, pull up Phil Snyder's story. Read it. It's the second most important UFO story out there. Stephen Greer will never mention it. He will not mention what happened up in Wanacue, New Jersey, where Sargel and I worked against or whatever, watching the government and Tesla, what he did and all those kind of things. People, you'd rather follow the lie and believe it than trying to listen to the truth. People can't stand the truth. That's why they'll back out. They don't like my show because, that's all lies. That's this. Well, believe the lies that you believe in. That you're a good person. That you're in heaven. Everything's beautiful. You believe any of that? They're all lies, people. So, are you ready to try to change your reality? No, I'm sure you're not. Because to change that, you would have to get involved. And people don't get involved whatever they don't have to. So, Stephen Greer came out and said that he was talking to the government. And they said, you shouldn't be doing this. And he goes, I'm a free person. I can do what I want. And he said, well, just think, if you take me out, I will come back and haunt you 10 times more than I am right now. He's delusional. If he died tomorrow, he would not be back here coming after the government. He'd reincarnate into something, starting all over without any awareness. That's what would happen, people. Not coming back as a super being and throwing laser balls at the government or anything ridiculous. He's a person, an ignorant person with false ideas of truth. Brainwashing people to believe something harmful. An alien lands on your doorstep. They don't knock on your door and say, excuse me, would you want to take a ride on our spaceship? It's not going to be good. It's called abduction because it means taken against your will. Oh, well, now there's people, well, I chose in my last life to come back and let aliens abduct me. Why would you do something so stupid? Because you never experienced anything beyond hell, like the worlds God created that are beautiful. Not Earth, not this dimension, not this reality. But Stephen Greer goes on. On top of that, he goes, well, they offered him $3 billion to walk away. What kind of brain, mind would say no? First off, if somebody offered you $3 billion to stop shooting drugs or whatever, would you say no? You would take it. Because if you did, you could do whatever you want 10 billion ways over. Now, Stephen Greer could have created 100 centers around the world, UFO centers, and put Joe Schmo's name on it. But his ego stops him from doing anything. But second of all, the government never offered him $3 billion. They pay people in the army nothing to kill people, to take people out. He knows nothing, never says a word about MJ-12. He knows nothing about it. I lost 16 of my best friends. 2 are in jail, 1's in the nut house. Well, the one in the nut house isn't my best friend, but he's in the nut house because he shot the best video of a UFO crash. And the UFO was not dealing with that. Why is that? They're afraid to get involved with the government. People coming out whistleblowing. Well, this guy that just came out, a week ago? Well, I know they've been working with ships. So what? Of course they have been. It's for defense, people. It's not to help you get a better house, or it's not to save children. It's to protect the United States and the world. We are in war with alien races right now, Russia and the United States. All right? If you want the truth about that, it's there. I'll tell you a book to read if you want to understand the truth a little. Sands of Time. All right? Really important book. It's 5 books now, but it's an incredible book, more facts. And then another person, Fred Bell, who was killed 2 days after he did the show with Jesse Ventura, Rays of Light, Crystals of Truth. Fred Bell, pull it up. His first book that I'm telling you about I don't see it. I got dyslexia, so I reverse things, but his book's incredibly important. He worked for the government. He worked on the HARP system. He worked on the 2 ships that we have that are capable of going to Mars. All right? They didn't want him talking publicly. I met with him. He said, I can't say a lot of things, but I'll talk to you because you don't have a big mouth like some people do. But he's dead. He did a show with Jesse Ventura, and Jesse Ventura, the first thing he asked him, aren't you afraid of the government coming after you? He goes, no, I work for the government. And then he goes, well, what about me? He goes, well, you're too high up for them to take you out. 2 days after that show aired, he was found dead in his hotel room. Didn't even leave yet. People, MJ-12 has been the block for the whole UFO world for 70 years. Truman created it. Eisenhower had to go along with it. I had Laura Eisenhower on my show. We had the biggest following ever. And she wouldn't go against one thing I said. And she even said, I want you on my show. She never did because her beliefs are so lame, for a word. But she did say she went to the moon, not the moon, to Mars with the president and things like that. We have a lot of UFO people claiming a lot of things with zero proof and zero information that can help us. Telling a story that has no way of helping us, why tell a story? I mean, if you want to be a comedian or a storyteller, become a storyteller. But don't come out and saying you're a whistleblower, giving the truth out, because you have no clue what it is. I'm not claiming to be the smartest person on the planet, but I'm sure more aware than 99% of the people on the planet because I experience all these things that I talk about. I had 5 death experiences. So when I listen to people with a death experience, having one, they have no clue what really went down in it. I listen to what they say. Oh, I met my grandfather. I met my father. I met God. I met Jesus. No, that's not the way it goes down. Oh, I had to come back. Well, that you did because you're not ready to go into a higher space. But people, one experience in your life doesn't make you aware of everything. People write books. People claim to be spiritual after it happens and everything else. It doesn't happen like that. Only in your ego. And then you write books and people, oh, wow, this is interesting. If it sounds good, it's a lie. The truth is never positive. What Jesus taught his disciples wasn't love and light and everything's beautiful. And God's not going to save you from everything. No. What did Jesus tell his own followers? Leave their families, friends, and children. Leave them. Why would he say that, people? Do Christians even know really why he said that? Of course not. They don't know what Jesus was even teaching. People, Stephen Greer has no awareness of God, angels, and the higher realms. He deals with planet Earth and hell and the creatures that run it. All right? All alien races are below us, people. They're not above us. Technology doesn't raise your awareness. I could build the most horrible weapon. Does that make me a spiritual person? I can make a laser that could hit every planet and destroy it. Does that make me a spiritual person? Of course not. Weapons aren't connected to spirituality. And what do aliens do that make us believe they're spiritual? Or they'll talk to us. Not one person came out with anything important to tell us. And Stephen Greer is going to create these sense. I had a guy on my show. I didn't know it. He was a multi-billionaire. And he goes, I'm building a center for the aliens to come down to talk to the government. Why do people believe things like that? That the government needs him and the aliens need him to communicate. They've been in communication for a long time. And they haven't done anything beneficial for the human race. The only thing, if you read every story that went down in all our UFO history, the only thing that supposedly happened was they shut down 5 nuclear reactors in different places for an hour. Does that mean they're spiritual? Does that mean they care about us? They just said, you stupid fools, we can turn you off anytime we want. That's all they said. But they don't, and they didn't. There's an army base next to every other of our army bases. There's always an alien army base. For real. They watch and know everything that we do. And I'll tell you this, people. When you're filming UFOs, they know you're filming them. They can stop you or they can let you. Most of the time, if it's really cool, they'll stop you. I'm telling you that by the facts. I was going to film something 3 days ago, and right before I turned on my camera, it just disappeared. But it happens all the time. Some let you film it. I filmed this ship blinking back and forth at me for about 120 times. And I thought I filmed the whole thing. I looked at my cell phone. It was frozen. Never moved from the first setting, period. So if they want you to film something, they let you. Are they letting more people film? They have to, because cameras are everywhere. They can't do anything without being spotted. So yeah, they're going to let us film a lot more. Are they going to let you see them eating a human? I doubt it. What are they going to let you see? A ship flying over you. Big deal. I could see 20 in a half hour. Some of them are traveling super fast, people. Do they care about planet Earth? I doubt half of them do. But when you go into the solar system like that, you're going to pass a lot of planets and things and stuff. And it's not about going into a black hole. They don't need it. Excuse me for 1 second. I'm going to lose my voice. I'm going pretty long today, people. I know most people won't stick around. If you're a UFO person, you probably turn it off because you don't want to hear the truth. You make money telling a lie, so why would you want to stop doing that? You make money telling a lie, so why would you want to stop? Why would you want the truth to come out? There's 2 important stories, people, in the UFO world. Not Roswell. All right. Phil Snyder's story and what happened up in Wanacue, New Jersey, which nobody in the UFO world can talk about. I lived up there. I worked with Sergeant Lightning. His family lived right there. I mean, they flooded a city. Ships went in and out of that reservoir for 9 months. The Army was stationed around it. Do you hear anybody talking about that story? No. Try to tell it. People don't want to hear it. Well, where's this? Well, when that was going down, nobody had cameras. I mean, their own personal camera in their pocket everywhere they go. I mean, I'll tell you this. When one of the astronauts went around the moon, he had a camera and shot the base on the other side. for real. I saw that video. But, people, we don't want to believe this, but we want to believe that. I don't accept that, but I'll accept this. You'll accept the lie. Listen to these UFO people speaking. Like Lozando. He's not talking about real aliens. He's not talking about real UFOs. Why not? People, when you see, go on Instagram and people like that, they're showing videos from around the world of ships and everything else. They're not all make-believe. Even if 1 out of 100's real, it's real. All right? They all were not created. Like when Bill Cosby got arrested. 50 women came out and said he abused them. Even if he abused one, he's a rapist, period. Right? People, we think numbers protect and change reality. No, they don't. They stop us from seeing the truth. Government allows more junk out to cover up. Now, and the only reason why I think I'm here, because I tell too much truth. So nobody will believe it. I told you one little bit hit here and there, they'd probably take me out. But they know all the UFO people are afraid of me. Why is that, people? Oh, he's crazy. If I'm so crazy, why can't you reply to one email I sent you and tell me to stop bugging me or block me? Well, the person in Hawaii did, and he moved out of Hawaii. I'm not gonna say his name, chicken shit. But I confronted him. He came back from a UFO conference. I said, well, you go to the conference? Oh, yeah, it was really good. I said, what'd you learn? Well, I didn't learn it. I said, well, then why'd you go? If you can't learn something, why go? If you're going to go to class, if you can't learn something, why go to it? What do you learn in school that's important? If you can't read, that's one thing. Can't add, that's another thing. But trigonometry and all those other words, do you need it? Will you ever use it in your life? If you decide to become a nuclear physicist or something else, yeah, maybe you should learn a few more things. And how many people want to become that? People don't even want to become doctors anymore, or nurses, or a policeman. People, do you look where we're going at any level? And the world's dedicating, giving over to the black people. I'm not prejudiced to a certain degree. But when they do everything for black people and nothing for the native people, it's pathetic. Mankind in the United States, English, British, Spanish, spent 400 years killing about 600 tribes of native people. Sure, there's a couple left here and there in those tribes, but they killed 50 million native people. And it was okay. Does that make them spiritual at any level? Killing is one of the worst karma things you can do and create. You kill a person with intention, you will reincarnate many times to pay that back. Realize, if I killed you today, and you're a man or a woman, the families, the children, and the children's families could have been here, are no longer going to be able to be coming here. Changes reality. One person. And they learned that through time travel. When Al Bielek went back in time, somebody died. About, 22 years ago, while he was still alive, he said to us, Sajel and I, he goes, look, they're paying me $4 million to go back in time to take somebody out. You got to stop history. The wrong person was killed. All right? And he looked like he was dried up, shriveled up, dying. I didn't see him for a couple months. And when we saw him again, his skin was glowing. His hair was dark. His eyes were wide open. And said, well, he wouldn't say anything. I said, did you go back? Because Sargel wanted to go with him. Could I go back with you? He said, well, I don't talk about it. They offered him $4 million. You think he said, no, I'm not going to go back? Considering he was the only one that actually went back in time? Everybody else disappeared. So that story, Watch the Philadelphia Experiment, is real. Really happened. It wasn't a love story like the movie that they put out. But people, the truth is right there in front of you, whether you want to see it or not. If you're willing to, it's there. And you need to open up your mind. Not to storytellers. not the brainwashing people or brainwashing aliens to the truth. You only got 125 years here. What are you going to attain? What do you want to attain? And what do you think is going to happen when you die? That's important. Not what aliens can do for you. Not what the government can do for you. Sure, it is in the moment. But I'm 70. I don't plan on being around too much longer. The government could take me out tomorrow. I could die tomorrow. But do I care? No. Because I'm going to a better place. Earth isn't a better place. And you're going to reincarnate over and over here. This is hell, people. Because you feel pain. You see pain. You can create pain. You can't do that in the other realms. You can't kill somebody. That's for sure. So, if you enjoy that, this is the perfect place. Sell yourself to Satan, to the devil, whatever words you like, and enjoy it. Because you can do it over and over again. I mean, it's pretty pathetic and sick, but that's your choice. I've been going a long time, but I just want to cut it short for religion. There's over 2,000 religions. 2 of them have the most population following, Christianity and Muslims. And that's over 50% of the planet. So we got 2,000 races that have a following, but not a super big following compared to them. And what do you think's being taught? Anything about a real God? No. Anything about death? No. What's being taught? Love thy neighbor. Love is the most important thing. No, it's not. Never was. Love came into existence 2,020 years ago. Didn't exist before that. Women were never anything other than a slave to the family. And that's for a fact, people. I mean, in the Native Nation, I don't know how old they really are. I was in 2 lifetimes, but again, the women had the last say in the war and things like that. They had a little more respect than any other tribe, I would say. But outside of that, every country, every government, every king, queen, and any person that had power over a country, did they respect women? Before Jesus came to this planet, no. Women were just objects. Usable objects, people. Religion never talks about that, do they? Oh, Jesus taught love. You can't teach love either, can you? Teach me how to love somebody. I don't. I went through that. I overcame it. I love being around my partner and things like that, my dog. But it's only temporary for another couple years on this planet. I'm not going to go into the inner world and develop more love to that because you have multiple things. And when your awareness changes, the things you do change. Number 1 being where you are. You don't want to stay on planet Earth. There's nothing beneficial. Nothing's getting better here. So to come back here, you're not going to be in a better situation. Following anybody on this planet, I challenge any one of them. Talk about God. Some religions don't even believe in God. While more people being programmed to accept universal energy. We'll use the word God consciousness or Christ consciousness. Christ consciousness means you're aware of Christ's consciousness. But you would have to be with him to understand that, wouldn't you? Listen to people writing about somebody. It doesn't teach you anything about their consciousness. Really. People, you're so programmed, brain dead, it's sad. When I walk the streets, when I see people, when they talk, it's sad. Am I depressed? Yeah, always. Always was. And I was in abuse half of my childhood and saw reality at the worst levels. But I did meet my first deity, my first angel, and my first alien. It opened my reality up to reality, to the truth. It's all real, people. If you have questions, please email me, hawksblood1@aol.com, HAWKSBLOOD1 at AOL.com, or how to see God at AOL.com, or Truth and God Only at AOL.com. All right? Uh, I deal with truth only is my motto. I don't lie, I don't cheat, I'm not doing anything to make money on this site or any site. When I lectured, I wasn't making money. All right? So, people, what you hear, analyze it. See if it fits into your truth. And make sure that it's real to fit it in there. Because somebody says, well, God loves you. What makes you believe God loves you? Because you were in a train crash and you were alive? You were in a car crash and you're alive? Well, God loved me. Why did he put me in a car crash in the first place? You know, you can always downplay whatever you think is your great experience. The greatest thing about miracles is miracles happen. Is it Jesus creating them all? No. Does Jesus care about every single person on this planet? No. You really believe he wants to come back to help you do what? Leave planet Earth? Do you deserve to? Do you even know why you're here? Praying is not the answer for anything. You can believe it is. You think you can tell God what to do? God, save these people. Does it happen? No. Tibet was destroyed, taken over by China. And in their prophecy, they knew it was going to happen. And they begged for help. They begged the world for help. And nobody helped them. The United States doesn't do anything for any country that doesn't give them something back. Neither does any other country. Sure, there's some people out there that help here and there. Oh, because I'm donating $1 million. Out of what, billions of dollars? She's donating $1 million? That's like you donating a penny from $1,000. Big deal. Do you care what you're really doing? Oprah decided to use her money wisely to create a home or center for every abused woman in the United States. Feed homeless people, make shelters for all the homeless people in the United States. She can do incredible things. But she's going to sit on it until she dies? Like most millionaires? They're still trying to make more money. Like their children don't have enough money? People, the mind, money, and ego is sad. Like I'll repeat it again. Jesus said it's easier for a camel to go through an eye of a needle than a rich person to get into heaven. Why? Because they don't care about heaven. They care about hell. Being happy in hell is better than being in heaven, in their viewpoint. The passions of the mind, lust, greed, anger, vanity, and attachment, is which what they're all attached to. I break it down. Drugs, drinking and smoking, cheap sex, cheap thrills, sports. How much money spent on sports? Useless. Doesn't help mankind move forward in any way. Entertainment. Make more money than anything else. Because we're so bored with what we are and what we do. Imagine you change that. Do something that you liked. Imagine that. Well, people, I know you're bored, stiff, or tired, or whatever the reason. If you even made it this long, I appreciate it. Please send this uh, link to everybody you know. Uh, I'll be doing a show Tuesday with the person that has been abducted many times, Tina Bird. Incredible person, very sick, exposed to radiation, which people don't talk about in the UFO world. But the truth's out there, people. Don't listen to these liars. Please. You're not going to get nowhere. And are they helping you in any way? I'll give you techniques. I'll give you a lot of things. I don't do it with Tina because she's so against spiritual and religion because nobody helped her in her whole life. She's dying of radiation poisoning. She's got all these things, being abducted so many times. She doesn't know anything beyond that. I mean, the government doesn't help her. Medical doesn't help her. They don't care. And they won't admit it. And she has more proof of that that's incredible. But listen to our show Tuesday on YouTube. Hawksblood, Tommy Hawksblood. Till next time, peace, love, compassion. Whatever you think you need in your life, hope you find it. Don't stop until you get it. And when you get it, make sure it's real. Make sure it's what you want. Okay? Don't accept anything. The truth matters more than the lies do. Well, peace.
and it makes me wonder why it's falling down on me. The sky is falling. The sky. Raise my eyes to the wild blue yonder. I can't believe what I see, and it makes me wonder why it's falling down on me. The sky.